Stricker?
Here.
McCarrigan?
Here.
Solomon?
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review. Notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk. Have any changes?
No changes.
Citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda as required by state law, no matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. Do we have any emergency action? Okay. Closed session, council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary if the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. Public comments. The purpose of this agenda item is to allow for public comment of items for potential discussion at a future council meeting. Comments brought to the council are for information only. The council will not take any action on the item except for referring it to staff to address for placement on a future council agenda. The comment period will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have any public comments?
We do, Your Honor, Mayor and Council. I met with Valeria and Maricia of Empowering Families last week. They want to talk to you a little bit about their work with Reconnect and also propose a future agenda item about a youth academy that they're organizing, and they would like to have them in front of council routinely, kind of like our student agenda item.
Okay.
So.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Maricia Marquez. I'm the program director for Empowering Families. Our executive director, Valeria, is right behind me. And we started a civic participation program for youth and Reconnect last year. And so we've continued that program into this year. The students learn everything from rights and responsibilities to the structure of our local government system. They learn how to vote and how to enact their rights when it comes to voting. We also talk about civic engagement, and we'll be doing some asset planning and looking at gaps in our community and on where there might need to be more resources allocated in the future. So this is a 6-week course that I facilitate at Reconnect once a week with the students behind me as well as some others. And then at the end of the experience, we go to Lincoln and we visit the Capitol. So we'll be going to Lincoln next Thursday and Friday. We'll visit the University of Nebraska, tour there. We'll visit the Capitol. Thanks to Civic Nebraska, they've already set up a tour for us and some conversations with representatives. And then we'll see Mid-Plains Community College on our way back. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great experience. Not only is Reconnect coming with us, we have 23 students from Scottsbluff High School as well as 2 students from Minutair High School. So very much looking forward to that experience. But if we can take a few minutes, I would like to introduce you to the students, and they have some information that they'd like to share with you about things that they've been up to at Reconnect, as well as some things that they've learned from the class. But regarding Mr. Spencer's comment about our Leadership Academy, that's something that we're developing with Empowering Families to open up to all students in Scottsbluff County. If they're interested, they would go through a year-long session of leadership experiences, whether that's public speaking, working on their strengths, through the Strengths Finder activity, going and meeting with elected officials like you all. But this will be an academy where they'll meet once a month and they'll have opportunities to develop a community project towards the end of their experience and actually make an impact. So that's something that is in the works. We would also like for them to have a component to be able to come here and meet with you all either monthly or bi-month or every other month to just share some of their insights into our community and some of their perspectives, because our youth have great perspectives. It's just teaching them and guiding them and coaching them onto how to share those with you in a productive way. And so I think you're going to love the students tonight. They're some of my favorite students out there. So without further ado, I'm going to invite you all to come up and we'll introduce yourselves. Come on up. Don't be scared.
Not everybody's coming.
Yeah, come on.
All right. Oscar, you get us started.
Hello, I'm Oscar Gonzalez, and
I plan on graduating on April 20th, and two things I learned when you guys came to reconnect was you had to be a landowner to vote, and you guys are trying to build a new school in Gearing, and something I recently volunteered for was the Polar Plunge, and after I get done with the high school, I plan on going to the Army, and I'm currently enlisted, and I plan on leaving June 16th.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Davian Blanco, and I graduate 2027. And what I want to do after high school is I want to move to Florida. And then two things we've learned was women didn't get their voting rights till the 1920s. And then And then
Yeah.
my volunteer experiences, one of them was we went to the fairgrounds in Mitchell and we helped them set up booths.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Santos Perez. I graduated in 2027, and for my future, I want to go to college and become an electrician. And two things I learned in the class is that back in the day, you had to be a landowner to vote, and that woman didn't get the right to vote until the late 1920s.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
My name is Nathan Ramirez. I graduate 2027, and what I want to do after high school is start a business. I don't know what kind of business yet, but and the two things I learned was that you had to be a landowner to vote, and then women didn't get their voting rights until 1920, and then something I did was I helped give clothes out to like kids that needed them in different like cities and that. And that's it.
Very nice. Nice to
job.
meet you.
Thank you.
My name is Landon Shane Halls. Set to graduate in 2027. Plan to go to Wichita State after I graduate. And one thing I've done while I'm at Reconnect was I volunteered to set up the fairgrounds.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ileana Mendoza, and I have like a year until I graduate. And two things that I've learned from the class is learning isn't successful unless you want to learn on your own. And another thing is like no one is gonna know what you want unless you say you're on your own. Like if you say that you're grown, then act like it. My volunteer work that I did was just helping like with delivering food, and I've done like other things too, not just that. My future plans are just to always like better myself and always be better than what I was done yesterday, and just be successful in a good way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ariana Stanton. I graduate May 28th, and then you have to be a landholder to vote, and then women was not to have right to vote until like the late 20s, and then my future plans is to graduate and go to college, and then I volunteer to the middle school to sell tickets.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Leslie Garrison. I'm 19 years old. I attend Reconnect High School. I have plans currently to attend WNCC this fall. I was recently accepted today. A few things I've learned in Mauricia's class is for a while there you couldn't own, if you didn't own land and you weren't a male, then you couldn't vote, you didn't have a voice. And again, same thing happened in 1920s, you couldn't vote if you were a woman, and at that point you could only be a white woman and vote. Black women didn't get the right to vote until later on, unfortunately. Some of the things I have done volunteer work is I also volunteer with Empowering Families. I have also volunteered for the polar plunge. That was really cold. Don't recommend it. Worth it for charity though. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to conclude, Empowering Families is a local nonprofit. We seek to create a community of belonging through education, civic participation, and bridge building. Actually, we've had several volunteers. They're all mostly high school students that helped us increase voter participation by 7.8% in Southeast Scottsbluff this past election. So we are out here working. As you heard the students, as the kids would say, they were a little shook when they found out that voting is not just a right that everyone had from the get-go. It took a long process, and I think that last lesson really had an impact on them. So it's an honor to be here today and to listen to the kids speak, and it doesn't happen overnight, and I think this is the first step in them getting more familiar and comfortable being leaders in our community, and I see great things for them. So thank you so much for letting us come and share that with you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, if you all want us to continue our meetings and work towards having the Youth Academy here in front of you, I need that direction, and we'll continue that.
That would be wonderful.
It seems like that's what I heard a lot, getting out, walking and talking to people. We want to keep kids here or come back when they're from college, and the only way to do that is to engage them early on.
I agree. So we'll continue this effort.
Good.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Anyone? Okay. Consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separately.
Mayor, I request to move 2 items from consent.
Okay.
A and D, as in David.
So I need a motion and a second to
Well,
remove
actually,
those.
when there's a request to discuss, they automatically are restored to the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So the other items that are still on consent can be all passed together.
Okay.
And then we'll take up the 2 that Jay.
Okay, sounds good. So can I get a motion to approve the remaining items?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second?
Any other comments? Okay.
Okay. Phillips?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes. Okay, so then, A, council to approve the minutes of the March 3rd, 2025 regular meeting.
Mayor, the reason I asked for it to be removed is a slight correction on page 12 of the packet. In the minutes, it said Ms. Cassandra Lauder of Gearing came forward to speak as formally on the Parks and Rec Board regarding the proposed ordinance for member serving. And I think it probably was meant to say formerly.
Okay.
So.
I don't know what it was meant to be. But if that's a correction,
okay,
and everybody agrees, you gotta move, second.
It is.
Amend the minutes, and then we do it on the record.
Next one?
Well, no, we need a motion for this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other corrections or anything else on this?
No.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve with that correction.
Make a motion to approve with the correction.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call.
Stricker?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Okay, so then D, council to approve the bid specifications for paving improvements around Westmore Park pickleball courts for the city of Scottsbluff and authorize the city clerk to advertise for bids to be received by April 10th, 2025 at 2 p.m.
Okay, Mayor, the purpose of removing that was to be able to ask a question, and I think the person might be in the room, I think, when I was kind of going through the bid specifications, not word for word, but I noticed on there, like they typically are, they comply with this code, that code, building code most specifically, and I know that the city has adopted the 2018 International Building Code, which the state structures where it's most applicable. And if I recall, this is an ARPA-funded project?
Yes.
Okay, so typically our federal funding has strings attached with specific codes, and I just want to make sure that down the road, if it's ever audited, we didn't inadvertently comply with the wrong edition of the building code. And that's all the question I had.
Yeah, we haven't adopted the 2018 building codes, and we do have some liberty in those codes to not adopt certain portions of it. So I don't think this will affect us at all. Would you agree, Zach?
Okay, I understand that, or you can amend out all things. The federal government attaches strings of specific codes if you want the money. And I just want to make sure we went through.
We're not aware of any of those type of strings. And matter of fact, it's pretty broad for the ARPA funding.
Okay, so that was the only question I had.
Any other questions on that from anybody? Okay, can I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid specifications for the pickleball court.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Kim?
Stricker?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes. Okay, claim removed from consent calendar. Council to consider and take action on the claim from Intralinks in the amount of $10,993.19.
And I need to declare a conflict.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the conflict.
okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Stricker?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Okay, council to consider and take action on the claim from Intralinks in the amount of $10,993.19. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other comments on that? Okay,
Vidlac?
yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Okay. Financial report, council to receive the February 2025 financial report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Link Sire, Finance Director. I'm gonna go down to page 2 first. I want to just point out one here on the highlights over there. If you look at the CDGB fund, you'll see that we are in the positive there. We did get our last reimbursement from that drawdown from that housing project. So that's good. That's done now. Pat should be here to do a report in the next month or two probably on that. They have to do that to close it out officially. But I just wanted to point that out that we did finally get that last reimbursement. So that is the first time since I've been here that CDGB has been positive. So we were just that far back on getting reimbursement for it. And then if we go down to the next page, we will just look at the expenditures and revenues for the month. We are 41% through the year at the end of February. And so typically you like to see everything kind of around that 40% mark. Every department looks really good for the most part. Everybody is in really good shape. If you scroll down to the next page, Taylor, there's only 2 really that are negative and they don't concern me that much. Water, we're working on that. That booster station's coming along very well now, so that's why the water department isn't quite caught up there. And then the streets. Did you guys have some capital projects in there or some capital equipment purchases in the street? You just did. We did. That's what I thought. So yeah, so they just had some capital equipment purchases there. So those will catch back up as the year goes on too. So I'm not too concerned about any of them. And then the special projects, that's the other one I think that sits a little negative. That one, we caught all that revenue last year from the hailstorm and stuff. And so now you're starting to see those ARPA expenditures, those hailstorm fixes and stuff like that. So that one's just, it's not going to be positive this year. But we caught all that revenue last year for it. So any other questions for me?
Any other questions?
Thanks, Lynn.
Okay, we need to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any other comments? Okay, Kim?
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Okay. Public hearings. Council to conduct a public hearing set for the state at 6 p.m. to receive information regarding the Class C liquor license for El Barrio Cantina, 1802 East 20th Place in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. So I will open the public hearing. Does anyone want to start?
Want to come up?
Introduce yourself and
Well,
your address, please.
I am Troy Little, owner and operator of El Barrio Cantina, 1802 East 20th Place here in Scotts Bluff. So a little quick background. Probably nobody here knows what El Barrio stands for. If you go back in early 20th century, a wave of Mexican immigrants moved up here to Nebraska, drawn by the promise of work and a better life. These folks arrived in the town whose namesake comes from the bluffs of Hiram Scott. They settled in a part they lovingly referred to as El Barrio. In the evenings, these people would get together, join as families, friends, cook food, play music, dance, congregate, and enjoy their time together. A little bit of history of where we came up with, oh shoot, I just lost my page. Sorry about that. I had to make some changes to my application. Did you receive those, Chief Bass? You did not from the state yet, okay. So we are planning to open April 7th for 3 days for family and friends invite. Kind of get through the little bit of training there before opening to the public. We will employ approximately 10 people, 4 to 6 front of house servers, waitresses, bussers. In the back of house, we'll have approximately 4 to 6 as well, kind of depending on, we might up that up a little bit, starting out to make sure we're meeting the needs of a rush of people. We'll be open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday would be 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. We are currently in the final stages of construction, finishing up all those great details. As in any remodel would have, it's been about double of what we anticipated as far as time. But I'm sure anybody that's remodeled their house knows how that goes. So we're down to finishing floors. We're making our own tables. Everything behind it has meaning, from the name to the tables to the floors. We restored everything. We're kind of going with more of a traditional look. I will be the full-time manager of the restaurant. If I, for some reason, am sick, have to leave, I have a second in-line manager, Efren Garola. He's managed people his entire life in his other careers before starting here with me. As far as monitoring, we have a SWAN security system in place, a total of 16 cameras, 2 8-camera systems. We have check IDs signs posted at the entrance. Every employee is going to go through a ServSafe training here in May. I'll have to look at the date again, but in May, there's a local one here in town that we're all going to be going to. Along with that, employees will all go through in-house training that we'll be putting on. Cody Schmick, longtime family friend of mine, he owns Kincaider Brewery. They're in Broken Bow, Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha area. I've hired him to start up this restaurant and to help manage it until he's no longer needed. He has a vast knowledge of restaurant experience, and he's well known for what he does, and honestly, I wouldn't do it without him because he knows the inside and out of the restaurant. We will have employee staff meetings on a daily basis. If the prior day's been good, it'll be short, to the point. If not, you know, say, somebody was served alcohol without checking an ID, a minor, whatever the case is, that's a good time to bring up those daily meetings there to address anything there. We have an employee policy book in place that goes through everything. I can send that on for review. There's a liquor closet next to the office for any abundance of liquor. It's a 24-hour locked door handle. You have to have a key to access it. Unless you broke the door, that'd be the only other possible way. There is a locked cage in the back of the building within the cooler. That is for, say, kegs of beer. You can store excess back there as far as beer that needs to remain cold. If I'm out of the restaurant due to an illness, etc., I have a second line in command who's going to take that key, who's going to be in charge of any handling of alcohol. Stephanie Cruz, she's has prior experience as well. She was working for Tangled Tumbleweed, Jim Trumbull, prior to them closing. All of the employees have past experience. They're all in the ages between 30 to 55, which I think is a huge start to getting into something like this. That experience is probably well worth it when you're getting into a restaurant and dealing with minors or alcohol or dealing with a lot of people. I think it's a good plus to have that instead of starting with people that don't have any experience at all. Everyone is required to provide identification or no alcohol will be served, and that's a zero tolerance as far as that goes. Cody and I are kind of going back on, he wants to give them 2 chances, I say 1. So we're trying to iron that out. He does too. He gives them a warning. Like I stated prior, I'm thinking we need to go with the zero tolerance, so that's kind of where we're at with that. There will be an outdoor area. It'll be a 6-foot tall wooden fence. It's off of the west side of the building. There's only access into that area from within the building. There will be an emergency exit. Bringing our total capacity, we will have approximately 150 people total capacity with the outside. Without just the interior seating, we're looking at 115 people. Is there any questions?
You want to have questions? Krista, would you like to speak to your?
I have a question quick if nobody else does. You had mentioned when you started, Mr. Little, that you had filed an amended application.
Yes, and do you want to wait to talk to about that?
Okay, I just want to know.
I didn't want to make sure I wasn't stepping on.
I've never been through an amended application with the commission before, so I don't know if, typically we get notice that we have to have a hearing within so many days of an application.
Oh,
and I don't know if that'll be suspended procedurally, but I was just wondering what did they tell you anything? When was it filed? Those type of things.
I filed it, I think that was last week now. So what I did, say if you have a speeding ticket or any sort of ticket, I didn't have dates on those. So I didn't feel it was correct to do that halfway to where, say you listed something with no dates, I left it empty, found out that was incorrect. So I resubmitted that to the state, with the tickets and dates, tickets with no dates. They said it's okay, do it the best as you can. So I left that, never doing this before. I didn't know, kind of being in the electrical background, when you're doing a lot of QA, QC type applications, you never do anything halfway. You either do it all the way or not. That's where I've been trained. It was my mistake. I should have reached out to somebody.
So the amendment to the application is in regard to charges and prior
Correct.
convictions?
Yes.
And that was it?
That was it,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Do you have those?
I can pull them up, and do you want me to pull them up right
I'd
now?
like to hear what they are.
Okay, 1 second.
So they're not on this application that we have in our.
That we haven't.
If they didn't,
Can you scroll down to that, Taylor?
Yeah.
Where that page is?
I think it was at
There, it's right there. Okay.
And you put some, no.
I don't have my internet connected to Wi-Fi, but I can spit them out to you. Back in, I don't know, I think I was 16, 17 years old. I received a minor in possession. Yeah, I was 16 or 17. My computer's not connected to internet, so I'll spit this out. When I was 21 years old, approximately 18 years ago, I did get a DUI. It was a birthday party. There was excuse me, I'm thinking quickly. My printer failed when I tried to print all this off to come over here. It would not communicate to my laptop. There was a no contact order against my ex-wife, which was dropped. I had a pistol, sorry, how do I say this correctly? A concealed carry, or I did not have a concealed carry. I got pulled over, I'd left a gun in the glove box. And then that was approximately 4 years. Do you want a rough time on these?
I was just wondering what you amended.
Okay.
If you want to go into details, go ahead.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't know.
I would
I'm sure
like to
your
hear.
search probably came up with approximate dates or.
Yeah.
So.
Mr. Little, I would like to hear it all.
Oh, okay. Then there was a failure to breathalyzer approximately 4 years ago. I believe off the top of my head, I'm remembering everything. I apologize for that.
Krista, do you? Okay. Do you have anything else you want to?
No, as long as there's no other questions, I can.
I think it'd be helpful to hear some other information and then maybe come back
Exactly.
to that, if that's okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So regarding the memo that I prepared regarding this application, my biggest problem, I guess, is this question right here that's displayed on the screen. At the investigatory board hearing, Mr. Little indicated that he did not quite understand the question, and that's why he didn't disclose any of the convictions. I guess to me, I think it's pretty clear, but I don't know if that's because of my background and just previous history. Regardless, what we did find during the background, there was a minor in possession from September 12th of 2004, disorderly conduct, July 15th, 2007, and then an unlawful park entry without permit in 2018. Regarding Scottsbluff County, though, in 2020, July, there was a harassment protection order violation, which was pled down to disturbing the peace. And then in September of 22, there was a DUI, refusal to submit to a pre-test, refusal to submit to a chemical test, possession of an open alcohol container, and 2 counts of carrying a concealed weapon. Those were pled down to careless driving, 1 count of the refusal to submit, and then 1 count of the concealed carry violation. So I think in large part because of that, the investigatory board did give a negative recommendation based on the non-disclosure of those convictions. I did meet with Mr. Little last week. He did talk about doing an amendment to the application. I know he'd been in contact with Brian Woods of the State Patrol and was encouraged to do that. So I pretty much just told him that I thought that he should be forthcoming with the council and just tell you what was left off before it was my turn to get up here and tell you.
And do any of these, I just want to clarify, do any of these things disqualify him
None of them are
from-
automatic disqualifiers.
Do we have questions for Krista? I don't. Questions for Krista?
No.
Okay. Other comments? Annette?
I had to scratch out a little bit, changing my, what I was going to say because of this, I wasn't aware of the amended application. But my name is Lynette Richards. I'm the Executive Director of Monument Prevention. Monument Prevention undertakes a comprehensive approach to prevent underage drinking, excessive alcohol use by bringing awareness to the public on the seriousness of substance misuse, as well as collaborating to increase enforcement of Nebraska's alcohol laws, working for effective state and local policies, and by working to decrease youth access and availability. And one of the components of the work that we do is to monitor the liquor licenses, not only in Scottsbluff County, but we branch out to a lot of the Panhandle. We just try to keep an eye on any applications, any sales to minors, intoxication, that type of thing. And so when I listened to Mr. Little at the investigatory hearing type of thing, I was really concerned because I had had reports called into me of some of these charges that has come up. And when I saw that it wasn't disclosed, that caused me to think, is this a person, someone that's able to have a liquor license? Because of that, he did not disclose those at that. There's several stories on this, of why he didn't. I do not know what it is. I just know that it wasn't on there. But failing to comply with this, because of his failure to comply, then it was amended, I guess. But we just ask if the city of Scottsbluff send a negative recommendation on whether the application should be approved and the license issued due to the character and reputation of this and the falsification on the application, and whether such convictions render applicant ineligible to hold a liquor license. I have mentioned to various people that I would not want to have a liquor license because there is a lot involved in it, and you do really have to know a lot. I don't think he knows that side of the business. He's relying on Kincaid. They're not going to be there. Kincaider, I guess it is. I just think that maybe he needs to know a little bit more. And right now, I don't see that it would be a good idea for him to have a liquor license.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Lynette?
I do not.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. Other comments, input for the public hearing?
I just have one thing to say.
Okay.
I think Troy did answer that question. And he said no. I don't think he just left it off. He answered that question, and it's right there. It says no. So I just wanted to point that out.
Anything else for the public hearing?
Yes.
Exhibits.
Yes.
Exhibits.
Can we have the exhibits, Kim?
We have exhibit number 1, the application of El Barrio Cantina at 1802 East 20th Place, Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Exhibit number 3, the city council checklist, or exhibit number 2, excuse me. Exhibit number 3, the written statement of police chief. Exhibit number 4, the written statement of city clerk. And exhibit number 5, the written statement of development services.
Okay. So I will close the public hearing. Council to discuss and consider action on making a recommendation to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission regarding the Class C liquor license for El Barrio Cantina and naming Troy Little as the liquor license manager. Council?
Well, to get it on the table for discussion, I'll make a motion to follow the recommendation of the Liquor License Investigatory Board of a negative recommendation for the liquor license. I'll leave the discussion after, if there's a second.
Do I have a second on that?
I will second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to provide a negative recommendation. Discussion?
Yeah, I guess mainly for Mr. Little and others, it just, the whole packet of all of those exhibits are here, and the information that you somewhat spoke about this evening. And I can't wrap my head around not understanding, did you have any convictions, yes or no? And you answered no. And so that's a pretty straightforward question to me. I think, in terms of I'm trying to get this back up, I hit a wrong button. I'll just have to do it from memory, I guess. So, the first one's the minor in possession and the no park permit. Those are, particularly the park permit, that's kind of irrelevant to me. But the ones in Scottsbluff, they're not in Scottsbluff County, relating to a protection order and harassment resulting from a protection order violation, and the DUI with the concealed weapons just is not very far removed from today. And I presume you were probably a little older during that time. Well, you were older during that time, and I just, with seeing these, I just can't in conscience make a recommendation for it, let alone against the Liquor Investigatory Board.
Council, other discussion, comments? You want to add, Kevin or Ken, do you have anything you want to add?
Maybe I have one question, and this might be out of line, but Kent will tell me. Well, I'm sure that's okay. Is there any, and I don't know if it's appropriate, but so this is for the liquor license, but then the liquor license manager, does the owner have to be the manager?
No, the owner does not have to be.
Okay. And
The
that's
owner
all.
has to be qualified, obviously, to have the license. He's going through an entity, the El Barrio. And so the members of that entity also have to have the same qualifications as a manager, whether they're individual or an entity.
So what I'm getting at is so if there's a separate liquor license manager, and presumably that person reports to the owner, probably not the best condition, I wouldn't think. So
they all have to be eligible.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Manager,
anybody
associated with the license.
You answered it.
Okay.
The wording was fit, willing, and able.
Fit, willing.
Correct.
Yes.
Right, they have to demonstrate their.
Everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
Okay.
Anyone associated with the license.
Any other questions or comments? I have to say, I agree. Unfortunately, I think just like Kevin said, the no on the application that I think is of concern. I think people make mistakes and we have things, doesn't preclude you legally, but I think being upfront is what's hanging us up here a little bit. So, and the recommendation from the committee. So, anything else from anyone? Okay, Kim?
Stricker?
No.
The motion is to
yes,
recommend negative.
Yeah, yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes. Petitions, communications, public input. Council to receive a presentation from the Gearing Senior Center.
Good evening. I'm Susan Heitman, and I'm president of the board at the Gearing Senior Center. And what I want to make clear today, this is my Vice President, Jerry Klein. We lease the senior center from the city of Gering, and it is for the use of seniors 55 and older. So get the word out. And
Some interested parties.
yeah, yes. The center was opened in 1978, and that's when the building was opened. And we are responsible for the upkeep every year and the insurance. And this year, our insurance for the building is going to be $3,865. That's a full year. And our income consists of $1,000 a month from Gering, $1,000 a month from Scottsbluff, and $380 a month from the Office of Area Aging for the nutrition program. And the Office of Area Aging does run the nutrition program, and we have approximately between 110 and 125 people who have meals delivered every day to their home. So we have volunteers that do that. We also serve between 20 and 25 in the building every day. Excuse me. We have a variety of activities that we offer at the senior center. We play cards, we play dominoes, we have puzzles, we have pool, we have bingo. There is Hard of Hearing group. The University of Nebraska comes once a month to take blood pressures on our seniors. And we'd like to add exercise classes, but we simply don't have the room at this point in time. We would like to do computer classes, but again, we just don't have the room to do that. And it's also hard to get people to teach these classes. So our space is very limited. One thing we would appreciate if we could have in the future is a storage shed. We need to put supplies from the nutrition program out in a different place other than sometimes in our dining room. So we certainly need to have advertisement. People need to know we exist, and a lot of people don't know we exist. And people are always saying, where is that senior center? Well, it's a hidden gem. It's in Gering behind the old train station. I think there was a swimming pool there at one time. We've had many expenditures this last year, and fortunately we had not the year prior. The center replaced 2 air conditioners and 2 furnaces. 1 air conditioner unit the seniors paid for themselves. The 1 air conditioner and 2 furnaces were paid by Keno grants. So that was very nice. We've had a lot of plumbing failures this year in the building. The pipe is all underneath the concrete floor, and the PVC pipe is deteriorating. So we're on a first name basis with budget plumbing. That cost us $9,000 this year. And we put in 2 new fire doors to bring the building up to code, and that cost us $9,972 this year. We had new carpet placed in our game room, and luckily that was donated by a family, so that was good. That was over $4,000 to do this. We've depleted our treasury, can you imagine? Yeah. Luckily, our expenses had been at the minimum years prior, but this year we really got hit hard. And I just want to say thank you for having me speak tonight and talk about our center. Come join us sometime. We have good meals. And please encourage other seniors to come and join us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Jerry.
That belongs up there. I don't want to.
Okay, council to receive a presentation from Regional West Emergency Medical Services on the Community Paramedic Program.
Good evening, I'm Sean Baumgartner, and I'm the Director of Emergency Medical Services at Regional West Medical Center. And we are happy to announce that on March 24th, we'll start taking referrals into our community paramedic program. The purpose of our program is to really focus in on 3 patient populations: those with diagnoses of pneumonia, those that have a diagnosis of congestive heart failure, and those with COPD. We've built the program to meet our mission, vision, and values, which is really part of Regional West and our goals. This is not a new concept. There's a long history. This is dear to me because in 2014 we published a study from the previous year that involved Regional West and Valley Ambulance Services. And I was one of the community paramedics that was involved in that and one of the authors of the study. And we were able to reduce hospital readmissions significantly and by utilizing paramedics. And so what our plan is the community paramedic will receive a referral from our discharge planners. We will meet with the patient while they're still in the hospital to obtain consent, and then visit them in their home after they're discharged. What we found out in our study was patients are very excited about leaving the hospital, imagine that. So we'll take the time to meet with them in their home, review their discharge instructions, confirm that appointments have been made. Med reconciliation is a big issue nationwide. So this is just another set of eyes to go over with the patient, their med list, make sure any prescriptions were ordered, and weigh them. Heart failure patients, if we weigh them every day and we teach them the importance of that, we can keep a lot of them from being readmitted to the hospital or even visiting their physician if they know what to look for. So these are some of the key values that we're going after. It's a program very dear to me because in 2024, under our merger that we did between Valley Ambulance and the hospital, we were able to make this a goal for this year. We currently have one community paramedic that has received his specialty certification. We have 2 more that are in training and studying for that. That is a international board of specialty certifications tests that they have to take. So we'll have those. And then our big goal, and I have lots of dreams for this program for the future, but we're going to keep it focused to start with so that we can make a difference with people and keep them out of the hospital, healthier at home. One of the big things that I wanted to just assure everyone is that this isn't a duplication of services. We're not trying to duplicate, we're trying to work with patients to get them connected to services in the community if we find a need. But there's a whole group of patients that do not qualify for home health or assisted living or the assistance programs, but are still in need of a little bit of assistance, a little bit of help. Or we, through a home visit, can assess something and get these people connected. And that's what this community paramedic program will be doing. This year, we've finally reached full staffing for our field crews, so this doesn't pull from 911. This individual will actually supplement our 911 staff when they're not doing home visits. So they'll be able to help coordinate, to respond directly to a scene if we have multiple patients. So it's an added benefit to my staffing for the future. We have a actual position. Our current community paramedic is actually my clinical coordinator. So I want him to stay in that role. So we will, hopefully one of the 2 that are in training will be take that role full-time. If not, we may share that role. That's just yet to be decided. So it is a wonderful opportunity. We've run into those little stumbling blocks. When we did our study, the state of Nebraska was very open to this. Currently, because of regulations, there's a lot more hoops. It's not all bad, but some were a little bit more significant than we thought, but we've jumped through those. So if there's not any questions, our Oh, I forgot to mention, it's completely free to the patient.
That's important.
That's
I read
important.
that in my-
Very much.
So basically our long-term way that we sustain this program is by reducing hospital readmits, show value to the community, and that basically pays for itself, so.
Sean, I would guess that some of these patients in the rural areas are just going without the care. Not just going back to the hospital or the doctor's office, just going without.
They just go without until it gets so bad that then we're called for an emergency, and we could have avoided that.
Mayor, a couple questions. So you have currently one community paramedic, and you're gonna have 3?
We're gonna have 3 that'll be trained. They have to have the specialty certification by state regulation.
And so it'll be kind of like a shift type, typical shift?
It'll
type
be, they just won't be 24, but they will be shift rotations, yes.
So like more daytime?
More daytime.
And so there'll be a, more like a fly car for 911s then?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, this was kind of a way of life in Metro Colorado, and I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, would it also, would it potentially reduce any load for our fire department?
Potentially, we can reduce some of that load, and that comes from, it'll reduce overall 911 calls, we hope.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay, council to discuss and consider action on approving a special designated liquor license for West Nebraska Arts Center, 106 East 18th Street, Scottsbluff, to serve beer and wine at a wine tasting fundraiser on April 26, 2025, from 6 to 11 p.m.
Hi, board. I'm Michelle Denton, recovering from a bad cold. But I'm here to ask for a request an SDL, special designated license for a fundraiser. We need to raise some funds to repair a stairway on our west end of our building. Some of the railings kind of popping loose from the cement, so $8,000 almost. And so we've got some funds from Oregon Trail Community Foundation. We've got several people already sponsoring this fundraisers, but we're hoping to raise another $6,000. So.
Tell us a little bit about how you serve alcohol, or what your process is, maybe for those that are new, like at the fundraiser.
Occasionally, we get somebody else to come and bring the alcohol in. This time, and we've also, our insurance this year told us that we could no longer carry an SDL at the art center. It was going to cost it's almost $1,000 for insurance a month anyway at the art center. We couldn't afford that. So they gave us an option of getting a one-time permit each time, which is $200. And so for this fundraiser, we felt like we were going to go ahead and do that. Traditionally, we have like wine tastings for openings and stuff, but I don't think that's going to be feasible. So you probably won't see me here very often asking for one. But we train all of our staff and volunteers. The people that have helped me for years. I've been there for 6 years, and we've had a lot of these. We're very careful. All of the tickets are sold to only age 21 and over. We know almost everybody that buys a ticket. And per the protocol of the Liquor Commission, anybody looking 40 or younger, we card them. This time I think we're going to purchase our own wine for the SDL. So any other questions you can think of? I'm kind of foggy.
Kevin, any?
I am not aware of a time that we were ever called, or the police department was ever called to the art center. So I think they do a good job.
I think I heard that last year about this time when they got one that you just never had a.
Yep. You've heard me say it every time.
It's not worth it. You know, it's not. So.
And this is an older crowd that's known to.
An older crowd, yes. Yeah, and the younger lady that was talking about the senior center, I totally understand about the building issues. This is a 110-year-old building. We've got every one of the issues that she just mentioned. So we're kind of low on funds and always looking for people to help us. So this is one way we can get some help.
Any other questions for Michelle? Okay, get a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the special designated liquor license for Western Nebraska Arts Council for April 26th.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Stricker?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I hope to see you there.
Okay, council to discuss and consider action on canceling the March 31st, 2025 meeting as 2 regular meetings have been held in the month of March.
And Mayor and Council, I put this on the agenda normally on the 5th Monday. We put that on the consent to cancel. That's usually been the rule of thumb, but there's been some discussion amongst council about having that 5th Monday. Some of the reasons not to is it really puts a burden on Kim. She has to prepare for 2 meetings really quickly, get minutes done, get the next one advertised in a week's time. So it does create a burden when there isn't work to do. We're pretty good about getting our work done on the 1st and 3rd Monday. I did talk about some topics for a 5th Monday, and I can get them on an agenda on a 1st and 3rd. We will be taking advantage of at least 1 Monday, maybe 2 during the budget process. Then there will be special meetings during that as well, so.
Council, you want thoughts on a meeting for the 5th Monday?
Well, I think, of course, I was a fan of having that 5th Monday one to do some, I'll say, extra things, strategic planning, talk about succession planning, all those types of things. But I didn't realize didn't stop to think about maybe all of the things, the staff time to do those. And if we can do those things in the 2, I'm fine with that. I just, but coupled with that, I always think there is room on there. I just, as I told Kevin when I met with him the other day, I just don't want to get to the point where these meetings are getting too long. We need to get out of here. When we passed up an opportunity to divide and conquer some other time. So if we're all good with that, I'm good with that personally. So.
Scott or Jeannie, do you guys have any thoughts on either way?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to cancel it.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to cancel. Any other discussion, questions? Okay, Kim?
McCarrigan?
Yes.
Stricker?
Yes.
Vidlac?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Okay. Resolutions and ordinances. Council to consider the 3rd reading of the ordinance dealing with residency requirements for members of the Park Cemetery and Tree Board.
Go ahead, Kim, read it.
An ordinance of the City of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, amending Chapter 6, Article 2, Section 111 of the Scottsbluff Municipal Code dealing with the establishment of a park, cemetery, and tree board by amending the residency requirement for membership of board members, providing for an effective date, and providing for publication in pamphlet form.
Okay, just to set this up a little bit, the way I see it is that you have 3 options. Leave it the way it is right now. There was an original ordinance that increased the out-of-city limits to 3. And then there was an amendment to that required those 3 that live outside of the city limits to own a business in town. So I think that's your 3 options. So I hope that inspires some conversation. And I think it's a 7-member board. I think the spirit of the ordinance to allow for people outside of the city is to have that people that enjoy our parks, participate in our parks and our activities, to give them some influence over some of these decisions. I think that's the spirit of this and why we allow 2 to be out of city limits right now. Our parks are widely used by the region, so I think there's a good argument for that. But
and the amended ordinance that we've read out 3 times is, the only changes are really to allow that to go from 2 to 3.
Yes.
And so the amendment then puts a little bit of parameter around that and says the 3 have to also own a business.
That's the way I read the ordinance. Yep.
Is that?
It's the way I tried to draft it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, you were thinking.
Well, it was, when we had the discussion after listening to Jeannie mentioning that those people, I'm not sure all 3 have a business, if I remember right.
They all 3 do have a business.
In the city?
No, 2 in the city and 1 outside
Okay,
of the city.
right. So it's a way to maybe keep a relationship with businesses in town, but also have some skin in the game. I understand that people use parks and look at trees and sit under them in the shade and all of those things. But it just typically, and it doesn't need to be that way per se, but normally people that influence things are residents that pay taxes. And yes, I know that businesses might have sales tax. You could argue that a service business such as an architect probably doesn't have a lot of sales tax. And they sublease an office, probably don't pay a lot of property tax, maybe through rents. But I think that what I also discussed before was just, and I was incorrect in I was thinking planning when it was the quorum, but 4
Would be a quorum with this
4 for
committee.
this. 4 for this, I was thinking, I was in the 5 mode. There's just there's a time when a quorum can take action, and those 3 people are 3/4 of that quorum, and so 3/4 of the people in the quorum could make a decision on behalf of the Scottsbluff taxpayers. Not that that would happen, but it's just set up to be that way, and I just think fundamentally that's not the best.
Yeah. They're not going to be making a decision necessarily for us. They're going to be
Recommending
advising
decisions.
the council. So they are an advisory committee. The decision still lays with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What exactly does the board do?
They meet monthly. They go over the parks. That board is actually out in the parks, setting up the movie screen for Friday night in the parks. They're getting ready to do the Easter egg hunts. So those board members will actually be up at the park putting Easter eggs out. It's a very active board. It's probably one of our hardest working boards as far as their activity outside of the meetings. They do a lot. They do. Yeah. And the 3 that live out of the city are the officers as well, president, vice president, and secretary treasurer. So
I guess what I was asking is what types of things do they really make advisory on? What do they
Recommend or-
recommend? What do they, they just looking at like, we need to replace this tree needs to come down, this type of thing, or what?
yeah, the everything that's happening in the parks will be discussed at those meetings. They'll be given an overview by the parks director.
Okay.
So, and they're not necessarily advising you to do anything with that. They're just made aware of those type of events. The pickleball courts, the lights at Cleveland Fields, the mini pitch out at Betts Park, all of the park improvements.
Okay, thank you.
So they must do something to make recommendations to spend money, or no?
I haven't seen anything come to you guys with a positive or negative recommendation on a project.
Okay.
So,
but so where does the money to run the Easter egg hunt, for example, the movies in the park, where does that money come from?
They have a little bit of money. They do raise some money, but most of it's from us in our recreation budget.
So it is city money?
It is city,
Okay.
a lot of it is city money, yes.
That's my point.
But it's city personnel that are making those arrangements. The parks director and the rec director that are doing that, they're actually helping them with those projects. So they're not making money decisions.
Go ahead, Jean.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'll make a recommendation to approve the second ordinance, which was introduced at the February 18th meeting.
That's the amended ordinance.
That's the
Correct.
3 out of town.
3 out of town.
Simple, no business.
So the
Yeah.
one that we've been rereading, or
Yeah.
reading. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second on that?
I will second that.
Okay, Any other discussion or comments on that? Okay, Kim, wanna call the roll?
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Stricker.
No.
Okay. Council to discuss and consider action approving a resolution to update the bank signature authorization and authorize the mayor to sign the resolution.
Mayor and council, we recently discovered a key to a safety deposit box, so the couple went to the bank and looked in the safety deposit box, and there was an original document requesting that the city become incorporated. If you look out on the hallway out here, there's copies out there in a frame. But it's that document in a safety deposit box, and it kind of came as a surprise to us. So we're just putting that in that resolution, so there won't be any surprises in the future.
Okay.
So, and that's all that's in that safety box. The bank doesn't charge us for that.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Kim?
Stricker.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Okay, bids and awards. Council to discuss and consider action on awarding the bid for the purchase of one new 3/4 ton 4x4 truck with cab and chassis only for the Environmental Services Department to Reganis Auto Center in the amount of $47,200.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We did receive 4 bids. They were all good bids. Reganis was the low bid at $47,200, and it's for, they were all for new 25s. And so our recommendation would be to award that bid to Reganis in that amount. That's cab chassis. We'll put a utility box on when we receive the vehicle.
Okay. Any questions for Mark?
So is that 90,000 that's mentioned in there, is that with the chassis?
Cab chassis, and it will cover the utility box.
Utility box,
Right.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mark? Okay. Well, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, Kim?
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Okay, reports from staff, boards, and commissions. Council to discuss and consider action on the agreement with MC Schaff Associates Incorporated for professional services in accordance with the City of Scottsbluff and surrounding area 2025 Safe Streets for All Action Plan and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Okay, Mayor and Council, Dave Schaff here from MC Schaff, just here to discuss this agreement. This is our Safe Streets for All. We've been in the planning phases, and now we're ready to sign an agreement, and that's what's before you.
Mayor and Council, thanks for letting me join you tonight. I am Dave Schaff with MC Schaff Associates. This is a grant that's administered through the Federal Highways Administration that's been out for a number of years. We've been lucky enough to be selected for a number of other communities within the region to produce this same study. Thankfully, it hasn't been taken out of the federal budgets as of yet. They're still actually awarding these grants through some of the smaller communities as we speak, so I feel like it's a fairly safe agreement. It's an 80-20 split. The purpose of the grant, and it's something that we've talked about for many years, even at the city staff level, is the acknowledging some of the safety concerns that we have through the transportation system throughout our community. This project will allow us to coordinate with Department of Roads, city staff, some of the other organizations throughout the community to get some input on projects that might be important to them. And so it will be a year-long study. I'm kind of excited about it. We've got a really good public coordination group that's going to work with us to get this done, and we'll continually give you updates as the study progresses.
So, okay. Any other questions for Dave? When does this grant have to be spent, Kevin?
I think we have a few years.
It is a few years.
Okay.
The timeline that we submitted as part of the contract is at 12 months,
Okay.
basically. It's close.
Sweet.
The other thing I would add is that this is the planning portion of the program. There is an opportunity to go through implementation grant process after this. So this planning portion will identify potentially some of those items that we could go for additional funding in the future as they're outlined as part of the plan. But no guarantee, obviously, but that's the hope.
Yeah, Dave, it wouldn't be a great idea to spend a lot of this effort on Highway 26.
Department of Transportation will have should have a strong stance with this, which we will identify all the intersections throughout the Highway 26 corridor. Again, they'll be identified as potential issues. But the highway itself obviously is taken care of and administered through the Department of Transportation. So we can provide some recommendations to them, but hopefully it will solidify and monument some of those concerns that we have as a community.
And I think we do need issues, whether it's Highway 26 or a city street, we need to know what they are or something.
Yeah, one of the strong components of this potential plan is that it's really geared towards giving the underheard a voice. And so as part of this project, you'll see us doing a lot of public output, a lot of public outreach to get those concerns addressed or identified. So.
Very cool. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, Kim?
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Stricker.
Yes.
Council reports. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting. Anybody have any?
The WNED meeting was last Thursday. I'm still learning my way around, but they talked about, they focus a lot on housing, and that's one of the 6 regions, one Nebraska, the housing stock study that they're gonna do. But anyway, there's a bill, LB 620, that apparently the league supports, and it's too complicated to try and get detailed, but just the highlights is that it's just another tool for municipalities, land banks, and even impacted citizens to take action if the municipalities or whoever doesn't on properties that negatively impact the neighborhood or the community standards in terms of safety, health and safety, and property values. So just a tool, and qualifies land banks to be receivers to prepare the site for put into better use, and that's kind of the nutshell. But I think that it's just another tool, and I don't know if we ever make recommendations or not, but I'd encourage you to read it, and maybe I think it's probably the track is, I don't know that we'll have it on time for any of their hearing schedules, but I would hesitate with the limited knowledge of the details to suggest we approve it. I think through the league is what we'll have that recommendation. Yeah. And then the other was attending the Reconnect Civil and Scottsbluff High School Reconnect Program Civil Engagement session a week ago Wednesday with Jeannie, and it was fun and lots of shy kids. So, but I was pretty impressed. I had no idea what went on in that building, and now I do.
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's a good program.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's it.
Any other things to report? Kevin, you have anything? you wanna
No,
add?
I went to the governor's town hall meeting on Monday. Jerry was there too. Region 6 met afterwards. I should mention that the governor presented Harry Lynn with the World War II honor, and he's 102 years old. And he got up, and he went to the podium, and he talked. But I heard today that he's very, very pleased with that honor. He's been wearing it to coffee, and so.
That's mostly why I went.
Yeah. And then Region 6 announced their priorities on Monday after that meeting. So it's kind of getting their footing under them and set priorities, and they'll start working on it. I would imagine they'll lean on WNED some for information. WNED just did a housing study in 22. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have anything?
I would get just to tag on to that meeting, because it wasn't really an official thing, but since the theme is kind of the youth tonight a little bit, it seems like, there is a well-spoken young lady there that's Miss Omaha that got up and talked about kid hunger in the state, and I think she did an awesome job, so.
She did. There's an OB that she's, I think, in Lincoln right now testifying on behalf of. So she would like to get before you guys and talk about that. So,
So I'll just give a shout out to Ella Anderson. I think that's her.
Ella Catherine Anderson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Phillips.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Stricker.
I was already gone.
Stricker.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Love the building.